Hello, welcome into the Sports Take Show. Matthew Coller and Derek Wetmore. And Derek, yesterday, new management introduced for the Minnesota Twins, and you have a piece on 1500ESPN.com about what they can do about the pitching woes. Now, the first name that my eyes were drawn to on your list of 5 pitchers to go out and get, Chris Sale. Gotta be honest, it's a little hot takey.
Yeah, heating up. It's definitely heating up in this sauna. It's less of a suggestion and more of a demand, really, Matthew. There's not a whole lot that the Twins are going to be able to do if they don't pitch better. There were a lot of questions at the press conference yesterday, as we record this on a Tuesday, as Derek Falvey and Thad Levine were introduced as the new two-headed monster atop the Twins front office, talking about the rebuild. And no one likes to use the word rebuild, and no one wants to talk about the processes by which you rebuild a team. That's just not fun stuff to talk about in an introductory press conference. But honestly, every other conversation is more or less irrelevant until the Twins get better pitching. They're the worst starting staff in the major leagues. Their bullpen was among the league worst and has been now, frankly, for 5 or 6 years. So this isn't a one-season blip. It's a trend, and the Twins need to find a way to fix it. Chris Sale would fix that. You'd have to give up a lot of resources to do it, but that's why I don't think it's that hot of a take that pretty much nothing matters until you can start to pitch better, and the Twins need to do it in a hurry.
Okay, but here would be my question. If you have a team that is going full rebuild style, starting at the bottom and trying to work their way up, the thing about trading major assets for a pitcher in his prime seems to me like it doesn't quite match up with the timelines that you would have to give up somebody who's a key rebuilding piece, maybe somebody like Byron Buxton. I know that that's who I would be asking for if I was the Chicago White Sox.
That's a fair contention. Now, Chris Sale has been a durable ace at the top of the White Sox rotation for a while now. There's always been concerns about his mechanics and would he get hurt, so you're obviously taking a pretty big risk. With that being said, he does have a track record of mostly staying healthy and being an effective starter, and he's on what I'd consider a pretty team-friendly deal, I think, through the 2019 season. So does it match the timeline to have an ace in his prime? Not really, but with that being said, how many teams get to have an ace in his prime? And you can really short-circuit some of that rebuilding. Now, here's where the conversation gets a little hairy, because I think if I was the Twins, and now this is a bit of a cop-out, but I would say, okay, I'm not trading Byron Buxton. I'm not trading Miguel Sano. Who else do you want? Maybe at that time, the White Sox hang up the phone and say, all right, we're going to go deal with the other 28 clubs. But I think that for the nucleus of this team needs to be Buxton and Sano. Some people include J.O. Barrios in that mix, but I frankly don't. I mean, I think he's going to be a good pitcher, but I subscribe to the theory that pitching is, you're sort of just gambling. You're hoping the guy stays healthy. You're hoping he stays effective, and it's a big risk. If you can trade a bit of a lottery ticket for more of a sure thing in Chris Sale and keep him cost controlled for several years, I think it can short-circuit the rebuilding process, which is why I'd entertain the idea.
There is another name on this list, one that Minnesota fans will recognize, a guy that's been pushed toward being a reliever now, which is Trevor May. And Derek, you say that there still could be something in there as a starter?
Yeah, I think he's shown flashes of dominance. I think, if you look at some of the secondary metrics, he's really one of the he's kind of, and this might be my bias a little bit, but he's an advanced metrics darling. Like, his ERA has not really been great all the time, but his xFIP has been outstanding. He's really good at getting swings and misses. He can strike batters out. He, for the most part, limits the walks, although he's had some really bad stretches in his career with that too. I just think a 4-pitch pitcher with the ability to miss bats and the sort of, if you want to go scouting terms, he's got the frame of a guy who should be able to hold up for 180 or 210 innings a season. I think it's more out of desperation than out of a thing that says this for sure will work. But I would say that from the stretches of dominance we've seen from Trevor May, and knowing that the Twins just flat out need to get better starting pitching, it's a risk I'd be willing to take to try and move him back into the starting rotation. Now, would injuries be a problem? Maybe. You're taking a risk. I'm not saying this is a sure thing, but if we're buying lottery tickets and I'm trying to buy, or I'll use the stock market analogy instead, that I think that that's a stock that's about to go up. And if I were the Twins, I'd try to maximize my returns with it by using him in the starting rotation.
Final thing for you. Give me a one-word answer here. Where will the Twins finish the season next year in ERA? Will they move all the way up into the top 10 in the league? Will they be in the middle? Or will they still be somewhere in the bottom third of Major League Baseball?
Middle.